Welcome, everyone, to the Obtuse Angles Podcast with Kyle and Jeremy. Kyle Fields, comedian, podcaster, unemployed radio broadcaster. Jeremy, bam, bam, boom, boom, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Iron Mike, the professor, the southern dandy, fly boy, the golden child. 10 minutes on either side of putting a ham in the smokehouse. Stacko Lee Sutherland. Also, a comedian, podcaster, IT man to the dang old stars, and today, in another edition to our long-running, critically heralded Wikipedia citation note needed episodes where we explore the pop culture, pro wrestling gooey goodness of comedy, movies, music, and video games of every single year. Hop in that wayback machine, fella. Put on your swatch, because we're getting out. In 1992, Jeremiah, what's going on?
Not much is going on, man. I am excited for this, though. I really do kind of live for these episodes. I know you do as well. We haven't done one in so long. I think we're well overdue. And what a great year to jump into, right?
Yeah, we done 93, I think all the way through 04 or 05. And you can check all of those episodes out right now at obtuseangles.libsyn.com. Or here's what you can do. Hop onto Spotify, Podcast Addict, Apple Podcasting, Stitcher, everywhere else in between. These episodes are hashtag evergreen man, meaning they're not time sensitive. If you just discovered us, if you have a road trip you're going on, maybe you want to smoke some weed and laugh some more, you can do so ad nauseum with all of the other old hashtag Evergreen Man episodes. While I got you here real quick, follow us on Twitter at Obtuse Podcast. We have been, we uploaded 5 new videos to the YouTube page this week. We have exclusive content on the way as well. Like us on that YouTube page. Now, with all that shit out of the way, yeah, bro, we like to start off these episodes by talking about where you were in 1992, but really quickly, and you know what, we are going to do a 1986 episode coming up, so I don't want to, gild the lily too much on that one, but we were just, feeling all nostalgic, and I didn't realize that when the Challenger exploded, the horrible catastrophe, the spaceship that went into the air back in 1986, and it was a big deal because it was like the first one with like real people on it that became astronauts, and there were like teachers on it. And you were 5 years old. That means you were in kindergarten, and you told me that you watched that video live as a 5-year-old boy where the goddamn spaceship blew up. Now, you're starting to make more sense every week, Jeremiah.
I remember that we watched it. This happened. Like, you see the thing just explode into a fucking cacophony of fire and smoke. And then, like, I swear it must have been 3 or 4 minutes of complete silence after the teacher scrambled, almost falling over her desk to get over and turn the TV off, that this one kid raises his hand in my class, and the teacher calls on him and says, "Yes, do you have a question?" And he's staring at the TV. He won't make eye contact with her. Like, the TV's been off for like 5 minutes.
He's still
staring at the TV. Yeah. And he just says to her, he goes, "Are they died?"
Are they died? That was the 38-year-old teacher's assistant. He was a little slow. He was the one that opened the milk boxes for the kids. And that was his only job. They just handed it to him. Are they died? Man, that is... Because again, I mentioned, hey, we should do an episode on the Challenger, and you got really fucking somber. Because keep in mind, we've done true crime. We've done episodes where children have been decapitated, horrible things. And I bring up the Challenger tragedy, and you're like, oh, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, but making jokes about the Space Shuttle Challenger, that's just fucking un-American.
Well, that was like when Jim Cornette, another alumni of this show, episode 100, we interviewed him. And he was cutting a promo for one of the Georgia Championship Wrestling or whatever. And it was after some guy's face had been set on fire, right? And he goes, "Magnum TA, last week we lit you up like the Challenger." And
God.
and Cornette says this is the only time that it ever happened. Like the cameras go off, the lights are like, zoo. And he says that Dusty Rhodes, who was there producing it, steps out from behind the camera and goes, "Don't talk about the Challenger, baby." So I mean, it really struck a fucking nerve.
I think that was verbatim, exactly what I said to you, wasn't it? I was thinking with the list.
Yeah,
so don't talk about the Challenger, baby.
I really, man, that would make you. I would talk to you every day. We'd hang out a lot more if you talked like Dusty Rhodes.
Luckily for me, I don't talk like Dusty Rhodes.
Luckily for you, kidding me? What Dusty Rhodes?
I just mean that I would have to hang out with you more.
Ah.
And we're off and running.
God. Now we sound like Bob and Tom now. God. Let's talk about some of the popular movies in 1992. You remember a little film called A League of Their Own, don't you? With sexy-ass Gina Davis.
That's a great movie. That is a wonderful fucking movie. Who knew that Laverne, or was it Shirley? Which one of them directed that movie? You could tell because half the Laverne and Shirley cast is in the fucking movie.
Oh,
but
I didn't know that.
What a great movie.
Yeah.
Penny Marshall.
Penny Marshall, yeah, she directed a whole bunch of successful stuff, man. And I don't know, Gina Davis, the older I get, the more I enjoy her. And I'm not sure why. I don't know.
I would fuck that man so hard. I don't think you fuck Gina Davis. I'm pretty sure Gina Davis fucks you.
I don't, but the thing is, I wouldn't even say that I guess she's manly, but she was in that movie.
But she's just a lot of woman. You know, she's like 6 feet tall, and she's a statuesque. Is that a good way to describe a woman? I think that's what Gina Davis is.
Yeah, I tell you what,
she's a handsome woman
in a bar. You walk up to a woman at a bar and call her quote statuesque and see what the fuck happens. Yeah, see if you don't get whiskey or Hennessy thrown in your face like our old buddy.
Yeah, but you could never tell just how tall she was on film. So I don't know. Like I had a big crush on her too, and that movie was so good. And I don't think people ever realize this, but that you forgot to be insanely annoyed by Lori Petty's voice. Like that's how good. Like people forgot that Lori Petty was even in that fucking movie.
It'd be great if I watched it again and like she was in it and Fran Drescher and like Bobcat Goldthwait. And you never even noticed it because Gina Davis was so hot. The whole movie is just people communicating like that. Encino Man, that was another film that came out in 19. That seems like that would have been right up your alley.
What a great, wonderful, terrible, really bad, fun movie. What a time. That's all you can say about that movie. You can't say if it's good or bad. You can just say, what a time.
Brendan Fraser, that was like when he was on top of the world, man. Have you seen him recently? I even think that there's like a documentary coming out about how far he's fallen, like in his life, like his wife left him and he's fat and bald now and all this stuff. Like, but man, Encino Man, he was cut, bro.
Oh yeah, and he had the beautiful fucking hair, right? Those wavy locks and stuff, the curls and stuff he had in that movie was just so becoming.
So becoming. What a dignified way to hit on someone.
Thank you.
You're talking about hitting on Gina Davis earlier, and you said statuesque, but now when you hit on Brendan Fraser, you made me take my pants off.
Well, one of those two I would want to fuck more than the other, and I'm going to leave that for you to figure out which one that is.
Oh, I don't think any of us need to question it. Unforgiven came out in 1992. That fucking classic that I believe Leonard Maltin
Top
gave
5,
2 stars.
Man. Oh my God. Top 5 favorite Westerns of all time, for sure.
Oh, dude. Just for creating the old trope, and I don't know if he created it, but the trope of the old man. I was done with this shit till you came and knocked on my door. God damn it! I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that Danny Glover invented that a few years before with a little neo-noir picture called Lethal Weapon. I'm getting too old for this shit.
Yeah, but Lethal Weapon was like he was still in the game. And by the way, Danny Glover has been like 45 years old since the 1960s.
God, he has, hasn't he?
Have you ever seen a young Danny Glover? Danny Glover was born with a gray beard. Last of the Mohicans. That and Daniel.
Wow, what a way to insult an entire nation of people. Like, let's get a British guy to play a Native American. It was fucking Oscar. Like, it was nominated for Oscars, right?
Well, dude, Daniel Day-Lewis could take a shit and get nominated for an Oscar, but that motherfucker can go fuck himself. I'm serious. I'm sick
I'm not
and
a fan
tired.
either.
I'm sick and tired of people talking about Daniel Day-Lewis. Bro, he overacts in every goddamn movie. Like, nothing about the way that he acts is natural. Goddamn Daniel Day, goddamn Lewis. Like, bro, you're just signing this check at Arby's. Chill the fuck out, man.
Stupid fucking overacting face.
This is just going to become a Daniel Day-Lewis bashing session. My left foot? Come on, more like my left nut. Am I right? Fuck that. Last of the Mohicans, everyone always talked about his performance, but you're right. They took a white man and then you're an Indian now.
Not just a white man. Like, they took a fucking white British man. I don't know why, but somehow him being British makes it a little bit worse.
You mean the original people who wiped out the other people who you did not cast?
Precisely, yes.
They literally, they made sure that they got a guy whose ancestor came over on the Mayflower. They were like, we got Daniel Day-Lewis's great-grandfather, we got to make sure that he sold them blankets. Did he? All right, good.
Yeah.
All right, good. All right, we can do that.
Well, if you want to talk about movies of 1992, you got to talk about A Few Good Men, right? I remember when that movie came out, every single commercial, every single newscaster, every single sitcom, they had some kind of fucking parody or reference to A Few Good Men.
You can't handle the truth. How many parodies have we? I'm sure we've done that on this show at some point. I'm sure in the past.
At some point, yeah.
Honestly, Nicholson is the opposite of Daniel Day-Lewis for me because Daniel Day-Lewis overacts and everything, and I can't stand him. Nicholson just plays himself in every movie. And
every role that Nicholson is in is like, if you watch the trailer, it should say Jack Nicholson is a complete psychopath playing this man. In movie title, you know what I mean? But it's great. It works. He's amazing. Jack Nicholson is a top 5 for me for sure.
And that's the thing. Nicholson plays himself in every movie, but that's just it. He's playing himself, so it appears like he's natural. Like, it feels like that's just what this guy would fucking do. You know, like of course he would fucking go crazy and take a piss in a kid's lunch. I haven't seen that movie, but I'm sure it happened. You know.
I think that's exactly what happened in that movie.
Batman Returns came out that fucking
That's what I was getting ready to say. You took it from me, man. I got to say, hands down, the most visually interesting Batman movie that we ever had.
I disagree. I disagree with you right there. I hate Batman Returns.
Well, you're wrong.
No, I'm right. But the thing, my favorite Batman to this day is still Batman 1989. I mean, I love the Nolan movies, all of that shit, but 89 is the movie I watched on VHS over and over and over again when I was a kid.
No, I'm talking about the most visually interesting. I'm not talking about, let's face it, Tim Burton can do a lot of things, but tell a fucking story is not one of them. But in terms of being visually interesting, from the set design to the costume design to the cinematography and the direction, Batman Returns is just a visually pleasing, visually interesting movie. You can't.
And you're right about that. My point is that I love the first one so much that I was so disappointed by Returns. Story wise, literally, Batman does nothing in the whole Batman
not a
watches
thing,
shit
not
happen.
A single thing. Yeah.
And it drives me crazy. Like the fucking Batmobile is hijacked. Like it feels like the whole goddamn movie they're getting heat on Batman, and he never makes a comeback.
Batman never gets the hot tag during the whole fucking movie. He just takes the heat.
Fucking goddamn Ricky Morton just took the pinfall, and Robert Gibson's sitting there in the apron with his dick in his hand. It's bullshit.
That's pretty much a lot of Rock and Roll Express matches. Actually, you kind of nailed that there.
No, it was every match. It was every goddamn one of them.
Yeah.
Ricky Morton would get in there. You know, Robert would get in there, hit a couple moves. Ricky would then get the shit beat out of him for 3.5 hours. And then he'd tag in Robert. Robert would come in, and then Ricky would magically heal in 5 seconds on the apron after the magical healing powers of the apron. And then Ricky and Robert would win. And it was the best fucking thing ever. It was the best tag team matches ever. As opposed to this movie, which, I don't know, So you love visually, you're right about that. It was a beautifully visual movie, but I like visually how Batman Forever looked. And I know that you're going to talk shit about it, but say what you want about the story of that movie or what the fuck else. I love how visually it's beautiful.
Nothing terrifies me more than a bunch of fucking Batman villains roller skating and rollerblading.
That was the fourth one, which sucked. That was Batman and Robin, where Batman and Robin both.
That was Schumacher, though, right? That was Schumacher.
They both were Schumacher. Yeah, but Forever was good, though. Forever, had the goddamn Riddler and his lair with the lasers, and it looked awesome. It had the goddamn mid-90s neon gang.
What about White Men Can't Jump? Was that movie hot in your circle in 1992?
Well, if you want to get racist about it, in my circle, in my circle was my brother and my cousin and the kid across the street. So in that circle, I guess I watched it later on. I'll watch Woody. It's another guy. I'll watch Woody Harrelson in anything. Woody Harrelson plays Woody Harrelson in everything. And Woody Harrelson arguably has the most range because he'll be Woody Harrelson in space. He'll be Woody Harrelson in a post-apocalyptic
he's been
wasteland.
Woody Harrelson in more places than any other Woody Harrelson has ever been.
The only Woody Harrelson I don't like is that season of True Detective where he banged that chick, and I was like, I don't want to see him fucking. I got a weird hang up. I cannot watch a man that I know enjoy coitus. I
sure can, especially if it's Woody Harrelson.
boy, I sure can. He said
that movie was huge in my neighborhood because it introduced the world and kind of threw it into the pop culture ethos, the mama joke. Because after that movie, literally everybody was doing your mama jokes. And in my neighborhood, we all gathered around, a bunch of fat little dopey white kids trying to play basketball and
oh my God,
and making fun of each other's mothers.
I cannot imagine anything more white than a bunch of husky white children swapping the worst mama jokes. Your mama's so fat that she went to KFC and got 2 buckets.
Your mama's teeth is so black, when she smiled, it looked like she got a mouthful of dice.
Wait, did you deliver it like that? Wait, hold on, were you a bunch of white kids delivering it like black kids?
Absolutely.
Were you doing the Wesley Snipes?
Yes.
Hey, man, let me tell you about your mama's weed.
We all talked like a bunch of 1970s pimps. When we were 11 years old in 1992.
Wayne's World, obviously. We can talk about that all fucking day long. What you said, like you didn't like it. You didn't like Wayne's World?
Oh, no, everybody loves Wayne. I'm white, and I lived through 1992, so obviously I loved Wayne's World.
Under Siege, baby. Under Siege. Tell me that that's not one of the greatest fucking movies ever made.
It's not one of the greatest movies ever made. I had no problem saying that.
All right, let me go back. Tell me that when you were a child in 1992 watching Steven Seagal kill that guy with your dad, that wasn't one of the greatest movies ever made.
It was really good. I just didn't think it was a great Steven Seagal.
What are you talking about? He fucking stabs Tommy Lee Jones with a knife through the dome. That's awesome.
But I was a Hard to Kill fan and Out for Justice. Like those were my two. That was the best one.
Hard to Kill was like every guy's fantasy. I know it's a fucked up fantasy. And you don't want it to happen, but in the movie, it's like they kill his family and they try to kill him, and he wakes up from a coma 7 years later and gets revenge. Like every dude wants to be that guy.
and then you find out there's 2 of the bad guy at the end. He's a twin.
Spoiler alert.
So shit. Yeah, sorry for spoiling that 32-year-old fucking movie or however old it is. Good Lord.
Basic Instinct. Speaking of beautiful old.
What about that Knuckle? What about that moose knuckle?
Oh, it's got to be the most widely seen moose knuckle of all time.
My mom let me rent it.
No, and then she wondered why when she got to that part of the tape, it almost you could see through it.
I was just blown away. I don't think that was the first vagina I'd ever seen, because I'm pretty sure I'd gotten into my dad's porno collection and his dirty magazine collection years before that. But
the collection. I love how you call it a collection, like he had a hidden library with bookcases.
Yeah,
and
he did. He
leather
had
couches to sit down.
It had a bookend on the shelf, and if you pulled it back, the door rotated, and you could walk back.
It was like the Bat Cave. Yeah. Hey, what about the music of 1992? Beastie Boys, Check Your Head. I believe that was the one with Paul Revere on it. Am I right about that?
I believe you're right. Oh my God, Becky, look at her butt.
Was that 92?
1992, Sir Mix-a-Lot's Baby Got Back.
Do you think that he wrote that and sat back and was like, I just changed history?
There was a lot of big fucking hits that year. That was the same year with Crisscross, jump.
Oh, God damn.
Yeah. How many, come on, be honest. You turned your clothes around backwards, didn't you, at one point, and wore them that way?
No, I mean, I wasn't slow though as a kid. I mean, so it's, Jeremy did
That's
it, but it was
debatable.
by accident. It was by accident. He went to school and they'd be like, "Oh, you're a Crisscross fan." He'd be like, "Yeah."
Yeah. That's exactly what I was doing here.
Why are your shoes on backwards too? Pantera vulgar display of power was 1992. What about that goddamn cover of the dude getting punched in the fucking face? That has got to be one of the most. That's probably the second most heavy metal album cover ever. Behind. We did an episode about the metal band Mayhem, where a man's dead body after he blew his face off with a shotgun.
Yeah, that
was
one
the cover.
Wins. Yeah, that one wins.
But STP Core? Come on, man. I saw him live. Best live show I've ever fucking seen.
That's when he stopped doing heroin, right? Was Tiny Music when that came out? Like he tried to kick heroin for the first time?
He was always doing heroin. Actually, he was not on heroin when they did Core, which might tell you a whole lot. So I don't know. It's, you know what? That's why I like my Scott Weiland. I love when they got back together and the band, when they were asked, "Hey, is Scott clean?" They said, "We don't know if Scott's clean. Quite frankly, Scott doesn't know if Scott's clean." What does that mean?
You got to think about the other two songs that came out that year. You got to think about Right Says Fred's "I'm Too Sexy." That also came out in 1992.
Bro, 92 was a wild fucking year. God, wow. I can't, how do you have, that would be like if Gangnam Style came out 6 times that year. You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly what it's like. And more importantly, arguably, if you're my dad, more importantly, 1992 was the year that Mr. Big's "To Be With You" came out.
Oh, if you're my dad.
At any moment of any day of the week, you could walk over to my house and walk in and you'd hear, "I'm the one who wants to be with you." Like on
That's
repeat.
Hilarious.
Something about, I don't know what it is. My dad loved Mr. Big.
My mom loved that song. She also loved Milli Vanilli. All right, dude, you would fucking, I remember she had that tape. Dude, I remember because that's what it gave me flashbacks of when you said that. All the time you'd hear, "Blame it on the rain."
I got a Milli Vanilli single in the first grade because I traded somebody my Triscuit crackers I brought for snack for the "Blame It on the Rain" single.
I still say they got the better end of that deal.
It's possible. Yeah. Well, yeah, you're right. You're definitely right about that.
Achy breaky heart, bro. Oh my God. Dude, let me tell you, I don't think unless you were around and, online in 92, you don't realize how big of a hit that was.
Can you turn on the radio nowadays and not hear Achy Breaky Heart?
What's funny about that is you're right. You never, ever hear that song.
But you still hear "Baby Got Back" when you turn on literally any radio station that you've ever worked for.
Right, but you're right. But and one of them was a rock station. What the fuck? But Achy Breaky Heart, there are other country songs that were released at that time that you still hear. You still hear Garth Brooks. Right. You still hear George Strait.
Well, that's the difference between a country hit and a fad. And Achy Breaky Heart was definitely a fad.
And I don't know why. The song sucks. I really don't know why.
I don't know. It maybe because it blew up and killed a man. I don't know.
God, good God. You know what? That one song was so big. That motherfucker, and he had hits, but he never had anything approaching Achy Breaky Heart.
No, not at all.
That one song gave him a career. It gave his daughter a career. Now, obviously it got her foot in the door. You know what I mean? Because that show was about a girl who was the daughter of a guy who was a, big star, and he was on that show. So he got that show based on that song. He got a goddamn pack show called Doc, where he was a Wild West doctor on that show. Like that one song.
It was like a mulleted version of Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman.
tell me then why Billy Ray, exactly. Tell me why Billy Ray, and he's still around to this day, the goddamn Old Town Road motherfucker, which, speaking of one-hit wonders, by the way, but that motherfucker, when he needed a country artist to sing, he got Billy Ray Cyrus, right? So tell me why Billy Ray Cyrus is still fucking relevant off that one awful song. Sir Mix-a-Lot, you could walk by that motherfucker in the grocery store and have no idea, and it's a tragedy. It's a fucking tragedy.
Can you think of any other instance in history where a song off a soundtrack has actually been bigger and more popular than the movie itself?
Oh yeah, a few times. That the Michelle Pfeiffer the school where she's the white savior and goes into the black kids. That's a good point.
Yeah, the Coolio song, right?
Yeah, puts that goddamn, like, Bill Burr's got a bit about it. She put that bandana on backwards and saves all those kids.
Well, it happened in 1992 again with "I Will Always Love You" by Whitney Houston and The Bodyguard, the movie.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. But, and again, The Bodyguard, it wasn't even like The Bodyguard was a small movie. It was a hit. But that's
what
fucking
I'm saying.
Song.
Yeah, it was a big movie, but the song was just, it transcended. It was so much bigger than anything else.
And to this day, again, it was a cover of Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
That's one of the rare cases, you might want to ask this, where the cover is so much bigger than the original song, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because the Dolly Parton song was a hit, and no one's saying it wasn't, but man, Whitney Houston with those pipes, goddamn. Like, when you hear that song, you don't even think about that movie. You don't even think about Dolly Parton. You think of that fucking song.
Yeah, I used to listen to that song a bunch because this girl that I had a crush on my block said it was her favorite song. And I used to try to get her to come over to my house and just happen to be playing it,
my God. Like, I
wanted her to organically come across me playing it so that I could later, come across her, I guess.
Jesus Christ. That is so fucking fun. Did it ever work, by the way?
No, I couldn't get her like within feet of my home. I couldn't get her I couldn't get her on my block, much less
think about how much
house.
Significantly your game has improved. That was your move. I'm going to go home and listen to this. Wait, so were you trying to listen to it so loud? Were you listening to it at your front porch and just hoping that she'd go jogging by?
Now I'm just like, nice shoes, want to fuck?
Exactly right, and it works
every time.
Exactly right. I really do want to go back. I want to say Sir Mix-a-Lot, for his contribution to society. First of all, he needs the Presidential Medal of Freedom or whatever goddamn award that's the highest. No, fuck that. No, you know what? No,
give him a Purple Heart.
You know what? No, fuck that. He deserves the goddamn Medal of Honor, and here's why.
No. That's not the highest award that can be given. That's not the highest honor that can be bestowed upon another human being, especially here on the Obtuse Angles podcast.
Are we going to do what I think we're going to do?
I think we're going to go there.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sir Mix-a-Lot is the newest inductee into the Obtuse Angles Talia Bankhead Golden Cocksman Hall of Fame, the prestigious Golden Cocksman Award that has been given to only a few of the greatest select few of the greatest swordsmen in history.
A few good men, you might say.
For their contribution to society, I guess in this case. Normally it's been, people who slayed a lot of poon. But you know what? God damn it.
I mean, are you trying to say that Sir Mix-a-Lot probably didn't slay a lot of poon in his day?
He popularized asses.
Yeah.
Think about that. Like,
everything you've come to love about a butthole or a butt, you have Sir Mix-a-Lot to thank for it.
People didn't even talk about asses before that song. It was like, it was
because they all look like pancakes. They all look like
every
a sideways
shoe
shoebox shoved down the back of a pair of biker shorts. Like if somebody took some fucking Spanx and tried to shove an old shoebox down them. This old flat, pancakey ass, and then...
I think you just quoted a haiku, but no, you're right. People didn't talk about asses, Sir Mix-a-Lot was the first brave man, and obviously we're going to quote him here. My anaconda don't want none. No, not some. He didn't say some. He said none.
Nope.
Unless you've got buns.
And how dare a motherfucker point him out for that double negative?
Absolutely. You fucking Nazi. You're a goddamn grammar Nazi. I love how dare. So yeah, Sir Mix-a-Lot, the newest inductee, the Talia Bankhead Golden Cocksman Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen.
You earned it.
Absolutely, he fucking earned it. I'll tell you who else earned it. The motherfuckers who made 1992's greatest video games. Super Mario Kart, the goddamn original. To this day, a game that I still play. I don't care. I fucking loved it. The game that begat a generation of chubby girls in their boyfriends' hoodies trying.
With one sleeve pulled up so you can see their Jack Skellington tattoo.
Oh, God. I keyed. Contra 3 of the Alien Wars, that came out for the Super NES. The Japanese version of that game is really fun because they give you continues and a life bar. The American version, they're like, fuck you, you're going to die and like it.
You know, Mario Kart, that was your favorite game of 1992, you think?
Yeah, man. Well, Mortal Kombat.
See, I've got to go. That's what I was going to say. I've got to go with Mortal Kombat. And I loved Mario Kart. Everybody loved fucking Mario Kart for the Super Nintendo, but Mortal Kombat, man.
Yeah, man. And it's so funny because time has not been very good to both of those games. No. But they're both games, because a lot of people go, hey, if you want to go back and play an old Mario Kart, they go with the second Mario Kart, which was 64, right? Which still holds up.
Yeah.
But Mortal Kombat, if they go back and play an old one, it's probably going to be Mortal Kombat 2 maybe. But man, Mortal Kombat 1, that was another one, man. That was another pop culture.
Well, it holds up
like
slightly
you had to
better
be there.
If you played it on Sega and you could use the blood code, which was
ABACABB.
That's right.
Boom! I still remember that to this day. Yeah, because the blood wasn't obviously in the Super NES version. It was in the Genesis version.
It was sweat on Super Nintendo. It was gray. It was the same blood. They just rendered it a different color. They rendered it gray.
Absolutely. Nintendo was on their high horse. They were like, because Congress was bringing the hammer down, right? Because the whole Night Trap, the fucking, our video game's too violent. Mortal Kombat comes out. Mortal Kombat was such a huge fucking fad. And I don't want to call it a fad because it's still around and it's still awesome. But it was such a huge pop cultural moment that it created the Senate hearing on violence in video games or whatever. Yeah. And Nintendo came in and threw Sega under the bus. They were like, well, our game, it all happened. Yeah, they were like, well, our game, Mortal Kombat, doesn't have any blood, but Sega decided to go all the blood and guts, right? Like, it was like, oh, you gotta
think about it, though. Like, looking at the time and given the state of how things were back then, how did Mortal Kombat, even as an arcade title, how did it ever get fucking made? And moreover, how could you find it in like every single Walmart or Minute Mart or fucking
You're right about
store
that, yeah.
across the country? The most hands down the most violent video game made up until that point, and you couldn't go anywhere without seeing a Mortal Kombat kiosk.
It was unbelievably shocking at that time. I remember that the news did a story on it, and they showed the fatality where Sub-Zero rips Johnny Cage's head off, and the body falls, but the head is there, and the spine is dangling down.
Yeah,
and I remember my mom going, "Oh," like she was. I remember she was so fucking, upset about it because it was the first real game, Pit Fighter came before it, but it was the first big game to have digitized graphics, to be that big, right? And it was shocking to a lot of people to see this level of, quote, realism, right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, again, in 92, when they had these digitized graphics, like these real pictures of people playing, I remember in my head going, well, video games can never look better than this. Do you know what I mean? Like, seriously, I was like, that's a real guy. Like, you can't possibly make a game look better than this. And you're right, because it would be in fucking Walmart. I remember the Walmart in Paintsville, Kentucky. After church, people are walking on in there to get their, fucking pickled sausages and tampons. And there's a fucking...
Because that's what everybody immediately goes for right after church.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the problem is when you get them mixed up. Because, the sausage works well, but the tampon tastes horrible.
I shouldn't have laughed at that, but I did.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Come on. But yeah, there'd be Mortal Kombat where motherfuckers would be burning alive, and fucking Kano puts his hand into a man's chest, and Kali Ma rips his heart out and then licks it and holds it up. And it's just like right there next to the Sega Bass Fishing or whatever the fuck it was, or the Double Dragon, So, oh God, I fucking loved it. So I do want to give some love to Sonic the Hedgehog 2, man. That one came with my Genesis, and I still play that game to this day. A year hasn't gone by that I've not beaten that game, or at least tried to.
And a day hasn't gone by that you've not beaten off.
Oh. I'm telling you what. See, I love how you throw my old joke under the bus a couple of seconds ago, and you're like, I'm this motherfucker jacks off.
Let's talk about one of the biggest scandals to take place in 1992. Woody Allen left his wife, or I guess it was his long-term girlfriend, common law wife probably, Mia Farrow, when she found out that he was having a secret affair with his adopted daughter.
That's his business. I mean, if he wants... That's awful. I can't believe that he still had any kind of career after that. And I'm not saying that he should or he shouldn't have. I mean,
it just goes to tell you that if you're talented in America, you are above the law.
No, I'll tell you this. Here's what it is. It goes to show that if you make movies with a small fucking budget and you still have enough fans from before they knew you were diddling kids, that you can still make those movies if the profit margins exist. And that's exactly what happened with Woody Allen for a long fucking time. And I'm not saying that he wasn't, super talented. Obviously he was, because he was great at the two things he loved the most, creating iconic comedy that was a slice of New York City, America in the 1970s, and sleeping with his stepdaughter. And I mean, he was great at both of them, I think.
He was very good at both of those things. You're right.
His argument was that he didn't even meet her until she was an adult, or what? I don't know. So it's not like, I guess he was wiping her ass, I guess, I don't know. Yeah. So nasty. I'm trying to play dumb.
No, I'm asking. I'm not asking because I know the answer to the fucking question, but it's weird that you find it, man. I don't.
Oh, you son of a bitch! Don't you?
Like,
because that's me.
I think it's weird that you find it disgusting.
How much things cost in 1992? The average cost of a new house was $122,000. The average income per year, $30,000. Jeremy, I'm so happy that before I got left go from my job, I was making the average income for 1992.
Good.
Every website has, gallon of gas, how much they made. This one also has the cost of a pound of bacon. The motherfucker who wrote this article was fat as fuck. Pound of bacon. There were war conflicts in Somalia, so that's going to lend itself very well to a comedy podcast that we have here. Hurricane Andrew happened in 1992.
Yes, it did.
You remember that? Oh, see, did you watch that shit with your mom growing up too?
No, listen, man. I heard my parents talking a lot about Hurricane Andrew, and I can remember walking past a television where I would hear a newscaster talking about Hurricane Andrew. What was going on at the same time that Florida State University had some kind of small little scandal going on in their school with some blue chip prospect that they had been paying under the table or whatever. And so for some reason in my head for years, I thought Hurricane Andrew was the football player who was getting drafted to Florida State. Because they always talked about, it made landfall in the Gulf, and they talk about Florida. And I just, for some reason, I thought he was a college level football player with a sick ass nickname.
Goddamn, man, what happened to old Hurricane Andrew? He should be in the Hall of Fame by now. I love how in your blissful little kid mind, as you're playing Super Mario World, you hear in the background, Hurricane Andrew has destroyed a trailer park in Texas. God damn, that motherfucker is violent.
Out of control.
Yeah, that's that's amazing to me. I tell you what else is amazing. All the other episodes where we take a look back at the pop culture of various years, Check them out right now at obtuseangles.libsyn.com. What I tell you earlier, Spotify, Podcast Addict, everywhere in between. If you mildly enjoyed this episode, even if you didn't, who gives a fuck? Hit subscribe and walk away. Please, it'll help us out so very much. Go back, like I said, check out the old episodes of this shizzo if you want to interact with us like so many of y'all like doing, and we appreciate it. One more time, at Obtuse Podcast on Twitter. Like the page on Facebook. Suggest other episodes if you want to see us cover maybe something in the 80s. Let us know. More pro wrestling, rock and roll stories, true crime. What if you want more of it? Hit us up. Also, I'm at Funny Man Fields. He's at Sutherland JB. Like I said, we're putting those videos and exclusive content on YouTube and Facebook. We're riffing on the news. You're going to like it. All right, Jeremiah, tell him goodbye.
Goodbye.